Hello everyone, it's Dave, as in Dash of Dave here, and
Brian,
as in...
try not to hum.
Is that what you call it? Is that what your channel's called?
I am the Silvered Fox. Ta-da!
And we are back for another Crafting, Banter and Chat, or CBC.
Yeah. And the humming reference is because everybody that knows me very well knows that I just hum incessantly. And I find it really difficult to stop. So Dave told me I couldn't hum just before we started, so I'm finding it really difficult not to hum.
It's really, I know, but like, well, a couple of things drives me insane, but second of all, it's the whole thing of like if it picks up any kind of, if it makes a match to any kind of music.
Do you think my humming is that much in tune?
No, to be fair, that's true. That's true.
Even I can't tell what it is after time.
And by humming, we mean the musical humming. We don't mean like smell. He doesn't hum as in he smells.
I'm showered and freshly laundered.
He does need his hair cutting though. So.
Desperately need a haircut. Sounds like a Yeti or Santa. It's getting Santa.
Yeah, you are looking like Santa. Yeah,
it's getting
like
Santa length.
Kids in the supermarket begin, "Mummy, mummy, look, it's Santa over there."
Or when your niece and nephew lean over to each other and go, "Oh, are we related to Santa?" Like, oh God, it's time for a haircut.
And if anybody's from the UK and knows who Captain Birdseye is, that's who he looks like as well. So
yeah, I have my brothers to thank for that one. Oh look, it's Captain Birdseye. Come to visit.
So yeah, we've come
good in
back.
Southwester though.
Do you?
Oh,
I'm not quite sure what a sou'wester is. I know it's like the yellow thing, but it's a sou'wester the trousers, the jacket, the hat. I don't know.
I thought it was the hat.
I don't know. Is it?
Because they're a particular shape. I could be wrong, but
I've no idea.
I have no idea. Don't know.
So we've come back because like
people said we should.
People said we should. Yes.
foolish people.
Yes. You don't need to encourage us more than once.
It doesn't take much.
You don't need to coax us out with a trail of cake.
Oh, that's a nice idea, though, yeah.
Although you can send cake, we're happy to receive
Cake's
cake.
Always good, yeah.
Cake, or you can ply us with chocolate or sweets or anything really.
Well, you have the chocolate, and if they send me anything that's jelly-like with sugar on, I'll be happy.
Yes, that's
all sorted.
That's Brian sorted. Yeah,
and coffee, and that's about my
life.
life.
Don't drink coffee, Brian. We make a lot of coffee for you, but you don't.
No, I'm drinking quite a lot. Well, no, that's not true. I'm not drinking quite a lot.
No, he'll make one cup of coffee
phases.
Last all night by reheating it in the microwave.
That's true. It's no wonder I'm dry as a husk most of the time. What is it? You're dehydrated, you are. You're dehydrated.
And you know the cause of every problem in the world? Folks,
problem in my world.
Because you're dehydrated.
Always.
I don't know how to spell sou'wester. I was going to look it up, but
God, I have no idea. I wouldn't even know where to start. It's one of those words that you don't need unless you.
Oh, it is. It's the cap.
You've been to sea.
It's SOU apostrophe WESTER.
Well, there you go.
And it's the hat.
And
it's like the yellow hat.
A sou'wester. So is that short for a southwester?
Oh, it might well be. I don't know.
Does it originate from somewhere in the southwest? Maybe.
Oh, possibly. I don't know.
Cornwall or Devon, that way on.
It could well be. I don't know.
You can't get much more southwest than that. Land's End.
Oh yeah, it's thought to have come from southwesterly wind, which brings warm air. Southwesterly, so sou'wester.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah.
And I thought it was hat-like.
You learnt it here first. You thought you'd come here for craft banter and
no,
chat.
But you came here for the history of hats.
Education. Oh yeah, that was one of the questions, wasn't
Somebody
it?
Somebody asked, where did the hat thing come from?
So, well, I don't know.
I know. I've always loved hats.
Well, I've always loved hats. I used to wear a lot of hats.
And then when we met, we both discovered we liked shopping. Yeah. So shopping became a big thing. And in those days, which sounds like it was donkey's years ago,
it was.
They still had department stores where you could go try on a nice fascinator or something with a veil. Or I used to like doing that.
10 years, is it?
The what?
10 years?
Yeah,
Longer,
10 years.
maybe.
10 years.
Yeah, so 10 years ago you'd think it was a lifetime away, although for some people it's a lifetime. If you're 10 now and listening, you're thinking, I wasn't born then.
Or even if you're 12, it's still a lot of your life, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yeah. But when you're in your mid-50s,
then
not so much.
Still a significant portion of my life.
Yeah, so I used to wear a lot of hats when I was younger. So I used to wear...
Oh, yeah.
I had a hat collection. I used to wear a lot of trilbies, pork pie hats, not pork pies, because that was...
A pork pie with a veil.
It's very meaty in this hot weather. And I used to have I absolutely loved wearing a bow tie. I really loved wearing a bow tie. You couldn't get away with walking down the street now. But it was the 80s. You could do what you liked.
You do it like in the 80s. My favourite hat in the 80s was the body map stocking, funnily enough.
Was a what?
A body map. There was a design team called Body Map.
All right.
They made fabulous clothes. And they made thigh-length jersey stockings with the print all over them with flares at the bottom. And I decided that I would wire it. Mm-hmm. And I wore it as a hat, like a big long pachoo.
Okay.
And so it started off like that. It was really tall. It was about 3 foot tall, and then it got tied in a knot, and then it got split down the middle.
It's really hard for like the people on the radio for when you're going. It went like that.
Yeah, that's true. It was very, very tall and very, very long, and it was just nice. I liked it. So, but that was back in the days when I was still at fashion college then. So,
when you got away with doing stuff, didn't you?
If you got away with doing whatever I wanted, practically.
If it wasn't quirky, it wasn't.
Well, yeah, it was that whole thing of the 80s were fun and the early 90s were fun because we went out a lot, but we went out and you never wore the same thing twice, and that's why my body map stocking became a hat, and then it merged into several different hats because it got shorter and got a knot in it, and it got pigtail, all sorts of stuff added to it.
I wasn't one of the. I lived in Coventry at the time, so
I was in London.
Yeah, I wasn't
Londonian
in the big smoke
town.
like you.
Yeah,
and also I didn't have many friends that were very quirky, so like I couldn't be myself, and you couldn't be yourself in Coventry. You'd get like beaten to a pulp if you did. So,
is that why people get sent there?
Yes, possibly. So yeah, so we thought we'd come back, we'd give it another go, and this is like why we're here doing this today. But we did have a lot of questions that Brian broke down.
Lot of questions. So in no particular order.
Well, I've answered one of them about the hats.
Yeah.
So the hat thing was really because we both discovered we both liked trying hats on.
Yeah.
And then it got to the silly stuff of like we couldn't find any hats to try on, so then it becomes plant pots and anything that's like
anything that'd sit on your head.
Yeah.
Basket,
so if it goes on your head, it's a hat.
If you could perch it on your head in any way, shape or form.
Yeah. So
and look silly in it, then it was worth doing.
Yeah,
we've had some good ones.
But we haven't it's been a while since we've done that because like there aren't
no way to go do it though.
No.
Like Debenhams has gone and House of Fraser's gone.
I used to love trying like the big like floaty hats.
I used to love it.
Women's traditionally women's
something that you'd wear for Ascot.
Yes. I did, although I was somewhere not long ago. I was somewhere with I'm sure I was with Vic. And like there was hats.
You tried the hat without me?
No, I didn't try any hats on. But we were going through somewhere and they'd got hats and I was like, oh, I was so tempted by this really big floppy
I
kind
love
of
a big floppy hat.
Yeah. But I was with Vic, so that wouldn't have worked. He's one of these people. So if I go to a supermarket, I will go up and down the aisles, and I like to make sure that I've covered all of the ground. It's basically my only form of exercise. If I don't walk down the aisles, I don't get a
But
walk.
you like to go and look at everything, even if that's daily. You still do the same thing.
That's a routine for me. It's really important that I do that routine, and I hate doing the pinball thing, where
he's definitely a pinball.
he's a
He was doing
pinball.
that when we were out today. He was doing the pinball
Yes,
thing.
they're bouncing to and from different parts of things,
And then back where he started,
back to
then
where
back
he
again,
came
and back
from.
again.
And I can't do that. But equally, if I say I'm going to nip out and just get that, I'll come back with 6 months worth of shopping, a pterodactyl and a giraffe.
Presents for the whole street.
Yeah. But if he literally goes there, he's back within like seconds, and he's only got what he went for and nothing else. Whereas I'll go and buy things. So like I'll think, oh, I'll buy him some pistachios, and like he'll come back and he won't have bought me anything. Mortified. So
You just need to
anyway.
give him a list.
No, because if I sent him a list, it'd be pinball style.
Yeah, that's true.
And bread, so like the bread would be at the bottom of the shopping bag, and
Oh,
they'd put things on it.
I was cringing.
Brian has a real big thing about. So I don't like people. Fondling my loaf. So which sounds completely wrong
on every level.
on every level. That sounds wrong,
And it freaks me out.
I don't like it when people have like squeezed a loaf of bread, because they always squeeze the loaf of bread and go,
See if
oh,
it's
that's
soft.
nice and soft,
And
and
then
then
pick a
get the
different
one
one up.
behind. so that one has been like manhandled. I don't like that. I don't like where it's like pinched to a point at the top.
Bread has to be carried separately. It has to be in a
Yes, but I don't
carried,
go
not
quite
in a
as far
bag.
as you do, which
just
is
watching people squeeze bread. Like
And it-
fingers down a black.
and honestly, if you put it in, you can't even put it in a bag with
No,
when
no.
you're with Brian,
have to
even if
carry
it's
it.
on top
No.
of a bag, so it doesn't get squashed. Brian has to carry it out like a baby.
Yeah.
So like it's cradled in his arms.
Because I can't have a slice of toast that's like that shape. Two triangles put together.
Well, no, that's
instead
why.
of square.
But why do people do that? Squashing the bread and
To see
see
if
how?
it's
Yeah, I
soft.
know. If it see how fresh it is, but then they get a different one that might not be as fresh.
because people never want the one they've squeezed.
No, that's true. Yeah, it's like
It's like when people
like
open
when
a
they-
packet of something. I don't know. Can't think of anything now. To see how it works, or
Yeah.
like a toy or something.
Yeah,
and
or
then
light
put it,
bulbs
and then
or-
put
yeah.
it back and take one that's sealed.
Yes, or they'll try the spray of something. They'll give it a spray and like see how it smells, and then get a different.
Yeah, they get one that nobody's touched. Dig one out from the back.
Yes, that's
That's just
human
people.
nature,
Yeah.
I guess.
That's
So,
just people.
so like so far we haven't covered many of the questions, but we've definitely
We've covered
definitely know
Well,
not to fondle my loaf.
one of the
So,
questions was any other interests? Trying on hats.
trying on
We've
hats.
done that, and shopping.
Yes. So other interests apart from
apart from crafting.
yeah. So I also like colourful Lego.
Yeah, and you collect clocks.
I collect clocks. Yeah. So I've got in this living room at this moment 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 23. There's a little one up there, 24. Oh, yeah, and that little one there, 25, 26, 27. There's 27 clocks in this room at the moment.
And it's only a room big
And
enough.
do you know what? You know what Vic said to me the other day? He was stood there,
Yeah.
and he said, "What's the time?" I said, "You are joking. What's the time?" And he said,
It's like
"Well, I
a
never know which
wall
one of
of-
them is right." 'Cause-
Maybe you need to put up a picture when you put this,
yeah.
and a picture
Oh
in
yes,
every
maybe a picture
so
of
that
some
people
clocks.
can see your clock wall.
Yeah, so we did pictures of hats last time, so we might have to find some other quirky pictures that we've got.
But put the clocks in there as well,
Yeah.
so people can see.
So I've got
and Lego and copper.
copper. I like the colour copper, so I've got
And
lots of
moose.
coppery things. Moose, because my nickname is Moose, so I've got lots of moose things. And I'm a bit geeky, so I like technology. So
You like old technology as well.
I like collecting kind of that old because it's technology.
Yeah.
So whether it's old or new, it's still it's advanced us to this point. So what else do you like? I want food.
I want food.
And squashing loaves. No.
No. I have a big collection of books, not just books that tear up, because I read, or I used to read. I craft now instead.
Yeah.
So
You've got the time to read.
So I read less, yeah. I had to put all my books away. Just have all my books out. I was very precious about my books. They'd have all set out like a library, and all the authors would be together, and they'd all be in the order that they were written, and the order they were supposed to be, and all the covers had to match. And if they got to book 13 of a series and they changed the cover, I'd have to go back and buy all of them again, because I couldn't cope with having one cover that was different. It used to really annoy me, because they always used to do that. Science fiction and fantasy books. But I had to put them away, so I stopped, so I didn't rip any up. They're all packed up, and to make room, because I only have one room, so I had to pack them away so I could get books out that I was gonna rip up and not confuse the two. So they're all neatly packed away until the time when I have a house of my own and a library.
Well, yeah, so just to clarify for those people that are thinking, well, he's only got one room, it's because you live in a shared house, don't you?
I live in a shared house, a very big shared house.
Yeah.
But I have one room, which is my room, and an attic.
Yeah. So
I'm not short of space in any way, shape or form. But, yeah, it is. I've been there a long time now. It's time. My plan was, when I first moved in there, I was going to live there for 6 months. Well, I found somewhere. And I've been there 9 years, 8 years.
Have you really been there that long?
Well,
wow.
8 years, I think.
Your first rent must have been in shillings and pounds, shillings, and 6 months.
I gave him a sheep and a goat, and it was fine.
Barter.
And he cooked me a hearty meal, and we called it done. Spat me palms. Off we went.
So what else have we got? What other questions? So is that kind of your?
Yeah, I don't know. Do I collect anything?
Yes, you collect paperweights.
Oh, yeah.
Because I buy you paperweights.
That's
You'd
true.
better still collect paperweights.
No, I still collect paperweights. So when I was very small, I had two grandmothers. We had my mum's.
When I was younger, so much younger than today.
My dad's mum was not very well liked by my mum and dad. Mm-hmm. And so we used to go visit her once a week before we went to see the other grandmother, and we were always told, don't touch anything, sit down, we'll have half an hour and then we'll go see your other grandma. And I used to be fascinated. She used to have this beautiful paperweight, glass paperweight on the windowsill, and just from the age where I was just old enough that I could see over the windowsill, I just used to sit and stare at this paperweight. And she used to do this really lovely thing, is that when they weren't watching, she'd slip it into my lap so that I could sit and hold it. And I'd hold it, and then I'd have to try and get it back to her without letting them see. And I used to do that every time I went, because she knew I was fascinated by it. And
but you liked her, you got on with her. They didn't like her, but you...
No, yeah. My dad had issues with her, which now I know about, but back then we didn't know anything about. And it was his mum, he had issues growing up, and I get that. And my mum had issues with her, and I get that, but I never saw that in her.
No.
She was fabulous. So I always remember when I came back, because I ran away from home when I was 16, and I didn't see anybody in my family again until I was 40, so it was a big gap. And I remember going to see her, and she said, all these years, and I carried a picture of you round in my handbag for all those years, and she showed me this picture, and it wasn't a pretty picture, it was one of my school pictures, and she'd carried this, and she'd been on telly looking for me, and done an appeal on telly. My parents weren't bothered that I'd gone, but she was proper upset. So, but yeah, I got on great with her. She was amazing. So, she's just one of those women who, my granddad died when I was really young. I was about 8 when he died. So I knew her as this on her own for most of her life, but she went on like holidays. She went all around the world by herself, and she wasn't afraid of anything. She went travelling, and she was just fab. I loved her. So,
yeah, I get that. That's how I felt about my grandma, and obviously about my mum.
Yeah.
And not having, and when they go,
yeah,
it's like,
yeah, actually,
we need to move on because I'll get upset. So,
yeah. But yeah, that sort of attitude that your mum sort of had.
Yeah, because you got on with my mum, didn't you?
Your mum was fabulous. She was amazing.
Yeah. I'd love to be even a small percentage of how lovely my mum was. So
You are. You're so like her.
am I?
Yeah.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank
See, now I'm going to cry.
Yeah, let's not both cry.
Yeah, let's
please.
Anyway, so we need to backtrack a bit because somebody asked, where did we meet?
Where?
Yeah. Cafe Nero in Leeds.
Yeah,
City
Cafe
Centre.
Nero, in Leeds. Yes, it was there. Yeah, we met.
Technically, we met online.
Yeah, we met
We
online.
were talking online.
Chatted
then
online.
We went and met each other for,
Yeah.
for a cup of coffee
Yeah.
that lasted for a whole day.
Yeah.
And just sat and chatted all day and had a really good time.
Yeah.
So, and that's how we met.
It is.
10
All those
years
years
ago.
ago. I feel like, it should be like that kind of like that music, music and like the wave and the screen goes, the picture goes wavy, like you're going back in time and like.
And then we've got some Edwardian costume on it.
In Cafe Nero.
Oh, dear.
So yes,
But
that's
how we met.
how we met.
And we
yeah.
just kind of
yeah,
realised straight away that we had loads in common and we got on really
we
well.
hit it
and,
off, and we.
Yeah. And then
The rest is history.
the rest is history. Then he forced me into craft.
Yes, at gunpoint.
At
Yes.
gunpoint. And there's been no looking
It was a
back
paper
since.
gun, but like.
Oh dear. Okay, so here's a big one for you. Something special that happened at 16, and who inspired you back then, and who inspired you now?
Back when I was 16, so a couple of weeks ago that was. Wasn't it?
Yeah.
My
You're
brain
such
thinks
a
it was a
young
couple of
prick.
weeks ago, but then I look in the mirror and I go, "Who the heck is that?"
No, mine usually remind me that I'm not 16 anymore. Constantly. Nobody tells you that your brain doesn't change,
No.
that your body falls to bits.
No,
People
do
don't
you
warn
know
you of
something?
that.
We were saying that at work the other day, that you get to an age, and somebody at work was saying, "Oh well, it's all right when you get to your age because, like, you it's all sorted in your head, and you're not." And like me and Sarah looked at each other and went, "No, it's not." But
No.
the only thing that changes is the outside.
Yeah.
You might know a bit more, but your brain still thinks in exactly the same way as it always did. And and when you were younger, you
Do you
always.
not think you reach a point like, I don't know.
When I was younger, I used to think that when I got older, something in my head would just go, snap, I know what life's about, I know where I'm going, I know what I'm going to do. And actually, I'm still waiting for that day.
I know. I'm 55, I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up.
You're actually getting shorter now. So.
I know. Scarily.
So when I was 16, nothing really. For me, my life didn't really change. For me, I left home, moved out of home when I was 18. But I was still like the nervy, angst-ridden teenager that I always was. I don't think my life really changed for me until I was in my 30s and I moved up here.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Don't you think there's a point that, I don't know, whether it's 30
Didn't like
or
who I was
35, that you think, oh, I'm actually I'm all right and I'm happy.
Yeah.
But once you reach that point, whatever it is, whether it's 30 or 40 or 35, that's the point that your brain kind of stays at.
Yeah.
That
Well,
you're
I
still
I definitely didn't like who I was back then. Not because it wasn't that back then I didn't like who I was. I hadn't found who I was. I mean, I had undiagnosed autism, so that was.
Do you think that makes a difference, though, that it was undiagnosed and so you didn't know?
Didn't know why I was weird and I just didn't have any friends. So between the ages, and it's not like a sob story. I literally did not have friends. I had friends at school. Well, I had one friend at school, and then he moved away. And then when I left school, I kind of had acquaintances that I knew, people that I worked with, and didn't really have friends.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until I was older that I really started to get friends. And then moving up here was the thing that forced me to get friends. I still don't have a very big friendship circle. I think I come across better online, and I'm personable and etc. But I think in face to face, I'm a bit awkward. And although you'll disagree with that, I know you will.
I don't understand why you say it. I think you put too much pressure on yourself though, because sometimes, like you went out and talked to those people tonight outside Rick's house, and you can do it, but you, like a lot of things, you get in your own head about it, you overthink it, and then you go, "Oh, I can't." Whereas I would just go, "F it, I'll do it." Excuse me. We'll edit that bit out. There'll be a beep there. But you know what I mean? I would just be like, "It doesn't matter, I'll do it."
Yeah.
And hang the consequence sort of thing. And I guess, I suppose that's the difference. I ran away from home at 16 and hang the consequence. And I didn't ever go back. I didn't see anybody till I was 40.
I know. And like you grew up very quickly, whereas
but that was more of a. I knew I wasn't ever going to go back, so I had to. I didn't. I don't mean you grew up because you'd moved away. What I meant is you had to grow up because you had to be, to survive.
Yeah, you had to survive. Whereas I didn't. I was living in my hometown, and that's why until I moved away from my hometown, which was 2006. If I hadn't have done that, as much as I moved up here for my partner at the time, who then became my husband, who is now thankfully my ex-husband, because that's a route I never want to meet that man ever again. But if I hadn't have moved up, so I think although things happen negatively, I always think things happen for a reason. So things happen for a reason, whether it's good or bad. The good is because you need it, and the bad is because you need to learn from it.
And you met me?
Yeah, exactly. So you have to change path. So I used to use metaphors when I used to teach people, and that's, if you always do what you always did, you will always get what you always got. And so basically I used to say, if you always walk home the same route every night, you will see the same things time and time again. You will see it evolve over time, but it'll be the same route, it'll be the same road. But if you just take a slight diversion, you might find something there that you never knew existed, or meet somebody you never knew was there. And so you do have to force change. And change is really good. Change is inevitable, except from a vending machine.
Oh, you're funny, you are.
Bring my own drum kit. So, I don't know what, I digressed a little.
So something special that happened at 16. Who inspired you back then, and who inspires you now? Did anybody inspire you back then? Well, you go with 30 because you said that's when you moved.
I've always been, I've always have been, and always will be inspired by my mum, because she was very matriarchal. She was basically the breadwinner. She was very strong. She was very strong-minded. But she was a kind person, and I would love, like I say, I'd love to be a fraction of who she was, because I endeavour to be kind. So she was always honest, and she was always kind, and I'm always honest, and I try to be always kind. So I always, Mum didn't didn't hate people. So I don't hate people, because it stuck with me that Mum always said, the only person that hate destroys is you.
Yeah.
Because it strips layers away from you.
Too much effort.
And if you hate somebody else, that person doesn't care. They don't know that you're
festering and
all entwined in their life.
Yeah.
They don't care. They're living their life and they're getting on with it, and it's you that's left all kind of
bitter and
wizened and twisted from it.
She was right.
So so what about you? So
I suppose the big thing that happened at 16 is I ran away from home.
yeah, exactly.
We've answered that one. Who inspired? Right, so I was inspired back then, for a long time, by another runaway who I knew, who was called Maz, who for a lot of years was my closest friend, and she was just the bravest person I know, and the stupidest person I knew, and the funniest person I knew, and she just had no fear of anything. She drank too much and took too many pills, which eventually was her downfall. But she was just fearless. And we used to sit at a cafe in Hyde Park with a little bit that juts out over the water. We used to sit there a lot with blankets, because they gave you fur blankets. And she'd always have a bottle of whiskey hidden in the bag. And we'd sit there, normally sort of going on from a nightclub at 6 o'clock in the morning. We'd go and have coffee and a couple of nips of whiskey in it, and then walk back to her place. So, and she had the most amazing flat. Unfortunately, her partner died and left her a lot of money, but he died, and he was gorgeous. He was the most beautiful man I'd ever known, like stunningly beautiful. And he left her a lot of money, and she bought the big fashion when they started digging out basements in London of houses, and sub basements and putting swimming pools in and things. And she bought a sub basement from a guy, like he'd gone bankrupt when he was doing this house, so all the floors got sold off separately. So she bought a sub basement, so her flat was a swimming pool. It was fab.
Not with the water in, obviously.
No, but it was it was an empty swimming pool.
Yeah.
And you went through the front door of the house, which just looked like a townhouse. And you walked through the front door, and then through a little side door, and down a metal spiral staircase, and you just arrived in this massive room that was a swimming pool. And she had like a library and chairs all around the top of it, and shelves, and then because it wasn't very wide around the top of it, and then everything else, the kitchen and the living room and everything, were in the swimming pool. It was fabulous. So, and we just used to, we used to go out too much, we used to drink too much, but she was just the most amazing person, and she was kind of the one who made me go to do A levels, and because I always had this dream when I was little that I was going to be a fashion student, and she kind of made me go and do it.
So when you were 16 onwards, so let's say 16, between 16 and 30, like I'm thinking, because like that's when my life really started to change.
Yeah.
So did you ever feel like you were alone and lonely?
No.
You see, whereas from the ages of 5 onwards, I always felt alone and lonely.
Felt alone and lonely when I was at home, which is why I eventually ran away.
Well, I mean, I didn't run away, and like I've got 3 older sisters, and I've got mom and dad, and I think because like it's difficult because I knew I was different, so I knew I was cognitively different. I probably knew I was gay. Well, I might not have put my finger on what it was, but like I could definitely knew I didn't want to get married, or wasn't like interested in girls and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And so I was very different. So I stood out a lot. And of course I was beaten from the day I started high school to the day I finished high school.
Yeah.
And bullied and tormented, and so those formative years really impacted how I felt about myself. And so by moving away from Coventry, I was able to kind of rewrite my narrative. So like I could have a new life, and people didn't know all of that stuff, because like Coventry, as much as it is a city, it's still got a very small town mentality, and everybody knows everybody else's business, and you couldn't reinvent yourself. Whereas moving up here, that was my chance to rewrite everything. And it was up when I moved up here. It was when I found out I was autistic, and So for me, that was kind of my life changer. So that was in 2006. So I was 37.
Don't ask me.
30, I think it was 37. Yeah. So.
And that,
yes, I was 37 because I was born in 1969. So yeah.
And that made everything better, or
yes.
Did it make things go? Oh, I understand a lot now.
Yeah, well, it did absolutely. As soon as somebody put a label, it's not. I don't live up to the label. I'm still who I was pre-label, but when things do go wrong, I've got a reason for it. So when I couldn't explain why things were so overwhelming, I couldn't understand why. Things like I don't like having a gentle touch. If you're going to touch me, it's going to be firm.
Big hug.
You can't just gently touch me. I find it very uncomfortable. So if you're going to hold my hand, you have to squeeze my hand. If you're going to touch my leg, you have to press on my leg.
Yeah.
So I have to, and things like that were just weird. And I have a reduced sense of pain. I describe pain in different ways.
Yes, razor blades.
Yes, I have that, and that need to put things in my mouth, and the pica stuff, and so that's a bit of pica, isn't it? And I have echolalia, so when people say things, I have to repeat them, and all. That's why the accent stuff comes from. Is I'm constantly trying to perfect that.
Yeah, it's worse when you're talking to someone who's got an accent. Yeah, because you'll bit by bit you'll get their accent.
And I'm not trying to take the mickey out of them. I'm just, I don't know. I feel the need to repeat it and talk about. And I quite like talking about autism now because I know what it is to me. But I only ever talk about my autism. I can't be it really annoys me when there's somebody on the TV that says that they're an expert in autism, and are they autistic? No. So they're not an expert in autism, okay? Because you can't be an expert in something. You can't be an expert in playing football if you've never been on the field. So
no, you're just a pundit.
You're an expert in watching, but not so observing, but not in actually feeling it.
What's that clock?
My clock, one of my clocks has a flipper flapper thing, and it makes
every
weird
time
noise.
It makes me jump.
And the other thing is, if they're an expert in autism and they're autistic, they're only an expert in their own autism because it's such a massive spectrum.
Yeah.
Sorry, very animated about autism. So I could do a whole podcast on autism. What autism is to me.
Yeah. Well,
the artistic
part of your
autistic.
Life is a big, massive.
There you go. That's my podcast, the artistic autistic.
There you go. Okay. Do you want another question?
Yes, go. Sorry, the musical interlude is Brian trying to find.
I was just going through what we've done and what we haven't done.
That's him mentally going, we've done that one, but it comes out as
this came with a, I don't want to sound too political, but how do you feel about the royal family? We were asked.
I absolutely loved Queen Elizabeth. I think she was so good for our country. I'd never felt like a subject of hers. Technically, I was, but I never felt like a subject. I really loved her. Mm-hmm. I am completely indifferent to Charles, and
don't you think though that coverage of the royal family is very different now to when the Queen was alive.
Definitely.
When the Queen was alive, we knew every wonderful thing that she did, and which castle she was staying in, and which church she was going to.
But that's because she'd been around for so long and there was such a vested interest in her.
And she was such a massive part of all our lives in that respect.
And even if you didn't like the royal family, people liked her, you know, like, because like she was this
been on the
elderly
the
lady
whole of our
that
lives.
that was part of our you know, our history and our heritage and all of that. But I'm completely indifferent to Charles. I have no opinion of Camilla.
It's weird.
And
it's
I
weird
would not be able to call her Queen.
It's like
Camilla,
watching. I don't know. There's this weird. I didn't see the coronation at the time, but I've seen bits of it since. And when you see him walk out to the balcony, it's almost like some comedy sketch of lookalikes.
Yeah, no, it is.
Out.
Yeah,
it's not like
it's
not. There's no like there's my king and queen.
No,
it's like what are they doing?
Yeah,
what
they're playing dress up and standing on a balcony. Yeah,
kids that got to the mum's dress up. Mum.
Yeah,
my crown's too big. What do I do?
It'll never be too big for those ears, though.
So I'm just I don't know. I don't know. Well, we shall see if he achieves anything or does anything. Or
I don't feel like I'm not like going out with pitchforks and flaming torches and trying to hunt them down. I'm just indifferent to them. Whereas I would have been very much an advocate of the Queen.
Yeah,
but I think
it'd be interesting to see what comes with William and Kate. Though.
Yeah,
although Kate's not well, is she?
No,
poor love.
So, what about you? Would you say that was a?
Yeah, same. Like the Queen, like I said, she wasn't on the throne the whole of my life.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And like my mum's mum had scrapbooks of her and Lady Diana, or all the weddings and all the jubilees and everything. Yeah. Books and books which kept all the newspaper clippings. She loved them. Plates on walls and cups in cupboards with glass fronts and stuff. So they'd always been around. And it was always nice to see what she was doing. And she was always kind of, I don't know, kind of wonderful. The Crown kind of portrayed them.
Yeah.
Portrayed her as a bit of a monster with Diane, but, you know. Like any normal family.
But like when people say, "Oh well, you know, the Crown said this," and like they have to remember, it was not.
Some of it's based.
It was based on, you know, facts, but it wasn't. There isn't a fly on the wall. There's definitely not a fly on the wall in Buckingham Palace. If it's anywhere without CCTV,
but also, that place. Like every family.
Yeah, so like they're human beings. So.
Yeah, they're human beings, so
they're not.
I'll never understand why he was married to the most beautiful woman in the world and left her for Audrey Roberts. But
so, well, again, that'll be a reference lost on our international
Coronation Street. Look her up.
Yeah, the most like dowdy. Yeah.
So that leads on to how do you feel about the country that you live in?
I absolutely love being a British citizen. In some ways I do. I love our multiculturalism. I love the fact that we, you know, generally embrace other cultures. What I don't like is the stereotypical Brit that goes away to another country and expects everybody to speak English. And expects to, you know, like people that go to like Spain and expect to be able to eat British food.
They just go, we were talking about this on holidays the other day. What's the point of going to another country for a holiday?
Yeah.
Just to do what you do in your own country.
Yeah. I don't understand.
Why would you go to Spain to look for the British pub? Why'd you go? I'll only go if I can have my fried breakfast.
Well, that's the same for me. We were talking about this, weren't we? When we were saying, I was saying, like, I don't understand people who will just go to, I don't know, somewhere in the world, Portugal, go and stay in an all-inclusive hotel that's, you know, like a 5-star luxury hotel, all-inclusive, and stay there all day, all night, and not actually experience what Portugal is like. You could go anywhere in the world. You could go to the cheapest, you could go to the cheapest place where you're guaranteed sunshine, and not have to pay thousands of pounds just to get somewhere. But wherever I go, I will want to experience the actual culture. I don't want to go to all the touristy venues. I don't mind going to see all the nice sights. That's fine. That's the touristy bit I don't mind doing. But I don't want to eat in the touristy, food restaurants. I don't want to eat in the, the Weatherspoons on sea.
Yeah.
I want to eat, somewhere that the locals eat. Because if you eat where the locals eat, you will experience the place. And also, then it's good food. If locals won't eat there, it's not good. Yeah. It's not authentic anyway. But yeah, I really like being British. I think we've got a very good attitude generally. We are, we get involved in too many things that perhaps we shouldn't. But and we're always portrayed as being like really stiff, or the other thing that we get portrayed as is villains. So like, if you watch a movie, if you watch a Hollywood movie, if they're a villain, they've probably got a British accent. It really annoys me.
Hey, listen, if you're a British actor and it gets you work, then I'd be
true.
playing on it.
But no, I like being British. I think
I have no problem with being British. I'm quite happy with it.
Yeah.
I think that
I'm British though. I'm not English.
Yeah. I wish we hadn't left Europe.
I absolutely agree. I wished we hadn't left Europe. When we were part of Europe, I didn't actually see myself as being British. I saw myself as European.
Yeah.
Because I've got a European ideology, and my partner's European, so I hate xenophobia, or I hate any kind of phobia unless it's arachnophobia.
Oh, it's all right for some, innit? Yeah. You be afraid of spiders. We'll all put up with
I just, I don't like intolerance. I hate, because at the end of the day, if you, my ideology, and again we're digressing. My ideology, my ideology is, no one is free until everyone is free.
True.
So it's like when people fight for their equality, you will never get your equality, because equality means everybody is equal. Not some people are equal, because then that's not equal. So, sorry. Got very deep.
but
Sitting cross-legged now. So.
It's true, though, isn't it? It's that whole. I don't know. I can't put that better than that. So. Yeah.
But do you like being British? Yeah.
Yeah. I like being British, but I agree with you. It's that whole. You'll only have equality when everybody has equality. Which is why we end up fighting for so many sort of other groups, marginal groups, and we all get put together, because it's about everybody being equal, not just about. Yeah.
So I can't have more rights than somebody else, because that's not equality. I want to have the same rights as everyone else, and have the same level of respect, and don't treat people by the identifying characteristics about them. So the colour of their skin, their religion, their beliefs, their sexuality, their gender. Don't judge people by that. Judge people by how they speak to you and how they treat you. And if somebody treats you unfairly, or they're unjust towards you, that's that one person being like that. That's not a characteristic of everybody that fits that identifier.
Cool. So then, off the back of that, if you could travel anywhere in the world, where would you like to go and why?
So, I really, really want to go to Canada, because I'd like to meet a moose.
A real moose.
Well, not meet a real moose, because they're not very friendly. But you'd like to see one.
See your kinfolk in the wild.
Yes, exactly.
Roaming free.
I'd like to see a real moose. But also I like Canada, because they've got similar kind of cultural ideals and things as, you know, the Brits. I'd like to go to America. There's not so much. I'd love to go to New York. You know, I think that's a kind of a wish list for most people. Yeah,
think of the hats. They must have good hats in New York.
Yeah, good hats and hopefully some nice flea markets. So, preferably without the fleas. Just lots of ephemera. I want to go to yard sales because, like, you know, that's a whole like
and estate sales.
Yes, I'd like. That's nothing. We don't have anything like that here.
No.
And thrift stores and all of that.
I'm fascinated by the idea of estate sales, though.
Yeah.
The amount of people that you see doing flip-to-do's that have got this in estate sale, and you're like, oh my God, they've just cleared someone's craft room out.
Yes.
Oh, it's just carked it, and they've cleared the craft room out onto the lawn and flogged it off.
But I think it's so. Although I'd like to go to New York, and I'd like to go back to San Francisco. I'd love to go to San Francisco with you and Vic, to be fair, and have a, you know, soft top car and drive around.
Oh, I could have a headscarf and
Yes.
big glasses. Be Marilyn Monroe.
Or Jackie O.
Not got the figure of Jackie O anymore. I'm all hips and boob.
So I'd like to go, but I'd like to go to the places where our viewers come from.
Where people are.
Yeah, that's
people that we know.
Less about like any particular place and more about doing a bit of a road trip and
knocking on people's doors,
going,
hi, we've come to do our podcast.
Yeah, you're our guest star.
Yeah. Crack open the gin.
I'd like to do that. I'd like to go to Australia and New Zealand. But if you just take away all of that, the one place I've always wanted to go is India. I'd love to go to India.
Go on then.
And you get great, like, flea markets there. Lots of old ephemera.
And it's cheap.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
And they still do a lot of clerical, so a lot of stuff on paper in.
I know, because surely the day's going to come where there's no paper left. There's no ephemera left.
Everybody out there will have bought everything that's going available on.
We'll have to start buying junk journals to take them to bits to get the ephemera out.
Yes,
to make
exactly.
The only reason we buy them is to take them to bits and get the ledger paper out of them, because no more ledger paper exists anymore.
Yeah, well,
although by then AI will be creating it for us.
You know, there's only so much ephemera in the world. They're not making more ephemera in the 1800s
but just think,
for us to find.
Things like, in 100 years, things like Vic's little Lego people, that'll be ephemera. I'll be able to stick that in.
Well, I know. If I could have a time machine, I'd like to go forward in time and find out what will be the collector's things.
Well, that stuff that you never throw away.
Well, I was going to say, let's hope it's the stuff that I've got and not the stuff that I threw away.
Open that door. That basement's full to the scope.
I'm hoping it's going to be Lego boxes and Lego build
and napkins
books and napkins, because I've got tons of those. But if it isn't, and it's something else that I've been throwing away,
and clocks, and
if it's like, I don't know, there's not much to do throw away.
Tassimo pods.
Yes, if it's Tassimo pods, then I've got no hope, because
I've just printed labels for them all to go back,
because they've all gone back to the recycling place. So.
Oh dear, I'd like to go to Japan.
Oh yeah, Japan is a go-to place, a place where I'd like to go.
People, they'd love you in Japan because you'd be a giant.
Yes. Yeah. Well, Vic definitely would at 6'4".
So would I at 5'11".
And I'm 6 foot, so like we're like Russian dolls.
Oh no, because I'm
babushka, aren't they? They're called. They're not
babushka.
Babushka.
And I'd like to go. Where else would I? I'd like to go to Australia to see my brother one day.
Yeah.
I'd like to go to New Zealand to see the Lord of the Rings sets.
If we go to Australia, can we take a flamethrower with us?
Why?
Well, you know, all the things that are going to like eat you and bite you and you can die from, and I could just like waft a flamethrower around so I don't have to.
No, because it's bushfires. That's bad.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And we could go see
Like,
from
you know, when like, it scares the living daylights out of me, to the fact that they say, well, you know, black widows like to rest in the handle underneath where you go to reach for your car, and like, you know, you have to check that.
Do they?
Yes.
Good job I don't drive there.
Yeah, but I do. Thanks. You'll be left in the middle of nowhere because I've been killed by a black widow.
I've been chased by a kangaroo across the desert while I've got high heels on. It's not happening. Can you imagine? It'd be like something out of Priscilla. Oh, right.
So, have we...
What else have we got? What kind of music do you like?
I like a lot. Very eclectic music. I like cheesy 80s pop. I like pop generally. I'm like modern pop. I like electro. I like electro jazz. I like swing. I like dance music is one of my very favourites. You know, I like dance music.
We know you like dance music. Give it a bit of a beat.
Yeah. Because like house music, I like house music. I like the electro jazz house fusion. You know, the stuff that Vic. So like Vic, one of the me and Brian have like being in Vic's car because sometimes he listens to stuff that we wouldn't be on our radar otherwise.
But
like
that was like
1920s music mixed with electronic jazz.
But he made me laugh when we came back from your mum's birthday because what was playing?
Umbrella.
Oh, that Umbrella, Rihanna's Umbrella, and it was like
like an
jazz
old musical
swing.
Yeah,
and he was
style.
amazed because I knew that it was like proper amazed that I knew all the words to it.
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah.
But I love Rihanna. I remember when that album came out. I can tell you exactly where I was and what I was doing.
But it's not on his radar because he's not into pop or anything like that, so he doesn't know about the fact that it's been. It makes me laugh when you get the youngsters who go, when you start singing a song and they go, "Do you know this?" You go, "Yes."
I had this at work.
When I was 16, this came out.
but even I amazed some of the girls at work. Like we've got some quite young uns now that work with us who are sort of early 20s, and I can't remember what we're talking about. Or Jessie Ware.
Oh yeah.
And they're like, "Who's that?" And then one of them went, "Do you know who Jessie Ware is?" And I'm like, "Of course I know who Jessie Ware is." They're talking about Jessie Ware, a new album. It had been fabulous, but it was about her 4th album before she got noticed. And she's like, "How do you know all of that?" I said, "I'm 55. I'm not dead."
No, exactly. Oh, that's it. Like the stuff at work that they talk about, and they go, "Oh yeah, I love that track," and they're like, "But that's not your music."
Why?
Why is it not my music?
I'm a 55-year-old gay man, which means if everything that a 16-year-old girl will like up to an 80-year-old man fits as my music.
Yes, exactly. But I've got very eclectic taste. I'm not into rock. I don't like punk. I don't like anything that's shouty and just shouty and guitars. I don't like.
Now you see, I like a lot of very eclectic music. I like a lot of the same things you like, as you know. I'm very pop oriented. I like a lot of pop.
Yeah.
But I do also like Muse and Placebo and Garbage. And when I was, you go back maybe 10 years, and I always said if I was a teenager again, I'd be Marilyn Manson because I love that kind of angst.
It's not me. Yeah,
black fit.
I'm not angst. So there's enough angst in me.
Neither am I, but I really like the music.
That's what I mean. There's enough angst in me. I don't want any more angst from anybody else. Thanks.
Fair enough. But yeah, I like something I like moody, and I don't know. I like things that it's hard to describe because it's not about a genre. I like a song where I connect with the lyrics.
I love lyrics. I do listen to lyrics, and that's what it's. I'm so surprised by the number of people who will have things like we've said, like Adele music playing at their wedding, and it's all about like breaking up or long lost love.
She writes an album when she breaks up with her latest husband or boyfriend.
And I'm like, the music might sound nice, but have you listened to the lyrics? Because the lyrics aren't really saying what you two are doing at the moment. You know, you're talking about
basically saying it's not going to last.
Yeah, yes. Like, unless you're at your wedding day planning your divorce, then this isn't the music for you. But I do listen to, and I think that's evident that I listen to a lot of lyrics because I can, like, everything I say, there is, like, literally every time I say something, I have something go through my head about, and I have to say, don't sing it.
But that's like me in film lines, isn't it?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Bring me the head of John the Baptist.
You remembered.
What's in the box? Pain. So, honestly,
oh my God,
Brian has like these snippets of like quotes from films that come out randomly, and
What's the other one? There's one more that I do a lot.
Bring me the head of John the Baptist, and then we've got
What's in the box?
What's in the box?
Put your right
hand in the box. What's in the box? Pain.
And the other one is Madeline.
Oh yes,
Louis is hungry.
Yes, Madeline Louis is hungry, and also the worst wolves are furry on the inside.
The worst wolves are furry on the inside.
There.
Which I can just Angela Lansbury saying that line in Company of Wolves. The worst wolves, but furry on the inside.
And honestly, there's just like these things, the same bits that, and every time somebody says something that sounds a bit like Madeline, it's like when we used to watch the Bake Off, and they'd like be making Madeleines, and you'd be like, Madeleine.
Louis hungry. Oh, Weezer, you know I love your more than my luggage.
Yes, still Magnolias.
Yeah. Just certain ones get stuck in my head, and that's it. They just go round and round and round.
But that's the same for me. But lyrics,
people will say things, and I'll be like, oh, "No, don't say that."
Yes, like
don't say that.
Just like me for lyrics. Although, like my one thing at the moment is octopus. It's like like people keep at work talking about octopus, and I just knew somebody that used to go an octopus every time somebody said an octopus, and now I can't get it out of my head. In fact, the last 4 videos that I've filmed, at the end of it, I've like said, goodbye everyone, thanks for watching, I'll see you in the next video. And as I go to like turn the camera off, I go, an octopus. So I can't help myself.
You need to get a new word then, don't you? An octogenarian.
So yeah, it's the
words.
Put your right hand in the box. What's in the box? Pain.
Silence. I hold at your neck and gum your bar. This one kills only animals. You suggesting the Duke's son is an animal? Get there. I suggested maybe human. There you go.
So life in our heads. You know, we're on an hour and 2 minutes. Oh, just an hour and 3 minutes now.
Woo-hoo.
So
okay. So what else?
Do we want to save some of these for the next time?
Well, I think maybe I'm just going to ask you this one last question.
Oh, right. Okay, we're going to have one last question.
Because this is definitely a question for you. Does Vic turn into a rabbit at night?
I don't know what the question is. I mean, I know what the question is. It's, does he turn into a rabbit at night? But, like, I don't know. Is it a euphemism? I don't get it. I'm really crap if you're trying to... Unless you tell me what you're trying to say, I don't know what you're trying to say.
I don't know. Is it something? Did we make a reference to something? Did we wear bunny ears in photographs?
We did.
I
don't know.
Joe, do you need to explain to him?
Because like,
does Vic turn into a rabbit at night?
I don't understand sarcasm.
No,
I understand. I understand taught sarcasm. I understand taught sarcasm. So if I know people have used it in the past in a sarcastic way, I understand it because I've been taught it. I don't. If somebody just says something flippantly, I don't know whether it's sarcasm or whether they're being serious, because I don't know enough about them to know whether that's what they do or not. If you say something sarcastic, I get that you're being sarcastic. Not all the time, though.
No, you've got a lot better going. What's that sarcasm?
Yeah, so
Okay, yep.
and I can say things that you say are sarcastic, and I'm trying to say it maybe in a sarcastic way, but I don't really understand what it is, and I don't always understand whether it is sarcasm or not. But I don't understand if, unless you're very direct with me, I won't know that you're having me on, or it's like I used to fall for everything at work. So like people used to, when I first started working, like people would send me out at lunchtime to go and get some tartan paint or
a bucket of bubbles.
Yeah, a bucket of bubbles, or can you go and give this to the so like I worked in a shop, and we used to, all of our like racks and things, they were called fixtures, so we used to have to go down to the fixture room, and then like I'd have to go down and say, there was a guy that ran the fixture room, and you go down and you say, Norman, can I have a long stand? And then like he'd like go away for like an hour and come back, and then go, okay, off you pop, and you go, no, I'm still waiting for the long stand, and then he'd send you away, and I wouldn't get it. I'd still go back upstairs and nobody'd say anything to me, and I think, well, why haven't they asked me for where it is? And I used to have to ask people, and they go, long stand. They've sent you for a long stand, so you've stood for a long time. And like, I don't understand that. Because I didn't get it. So I went to the photocopiers once on my first job. I was handed an envelope. We used to get confidential mail, and like the new people had to go out and just do all of the running and stuff like that. So we had to go this is before we had photocopiers in buildings, and we had to go to the photocopiers down the street. Went down the street, gave them this envelope and said confidential on it, and then they'd open it, they'd photocopy it, and they'd put it all back in this envelope. They took it out, and then they read it, and then like put it back, and then they say, just stand there. Like, okay. And they didn't do anything. And I said, oh, have you done the copy? And they'd like go, I think you might want to go back now. And like they'd give you the envelope back, and they'd walk back and not know what it was. And it'd be things like they'd pull it out, this person's mad, just leave them to stand in your shop for an hour.
So oh God, you had some jobs.
Well, they picked on the weak, didn't they? So, like, you know, when I didn't have the social acumen to know that people were taking the mickey out of you. So
that's terrible.
So yes. Anyway,
what was your first job?
I worked in retail, British Home Stores. And I did a YTS, a youth training scheme. So I earned £30 a week.
Wow.
I know.
I bet it felt like a lot.
It did feel like a lot back then. Yeah, I mean, like, you know, back then it was still not a lot, because like it was nowhere near as much as everybody else was getting.
Yeah.
But I will say, although lots of people had negative experiences of youth training schemes, I had a very good experience of it, because they showed me every aspect of that job, from the shop floor, the cleaning, the management, store detection, security, everything, cash office. And actually I did a year's YTS, then I did a second year of YTS, and I think I got £45 a week then. And then I went on and got a job there, and I was there for a further 5.5 years.
Wow.
And I did supervisory jobs, and I ended up worked in the cash office, supervisory role, and all sorts of things. So
Cool.
I absolutely loved it. Got to do secondments to new store openings.
I remember you talking about that, yeah.
And then I worked, and part of it was because it was part of a bigger group. They became part of a big group storehouse.
Yeah.
So I got to go and work in the Habitats and Mother Cares and do window dressing. And I worked for Rackham's doing window dressing for a bit.
Rackham's.
Yeah, Rackham's and Cavendish House. And I loved all of those kind of visual merchandising things. Then I got a job working for a company called Pineapple, where
The dance company?
no Pineapple
Where
Pine
is that?
Pineapple Pine Furniture and Giftware, and my manager was called Kirsty. She was the owner's daughter, and she was absolutely vile to me.
Really?
From the day I started. She'd do deliberately horrible things to me. So, like, she'd literally make me... She threw a bucket of water over me once and then made me stand outside in the freezing cold.
Wow.
People
are mean.
If she took an instant disliking to me, and everybody else was allowed to sit... There was like a little room at the back where her office was. There was like a little inter-room that was like between the toilet and her office, and the people were allowed to sit in there and have their lunch. I wasn't ever allowed to sit there. I wasn't allowed to be in the back room with her. If I was, she'd verbally abuse me constantly. And she was the cause of like a massive spiraling downwards of depression and stuff. And anyway, that company went bankrupt and they closed all the stores, and I went and worked somewhere else. And then another company came along and took on the same sort of principle and called it Pinocchio. And one of the managers for one of the other places, the Nottingham branch, rang me one day and said, we're opening the Pinocchio up. It's going to be a bit like Pineapple, and I would like you to come. You were really good, and I'd like to come and work for me. And I was thinking, this is a trap. I absolutely thought that they were trying to trick me.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So anyway,
Wow.
The rest of that is a story for another time.
Fair enough.
Because it's quite emotionally charged. My time at Pinocchio was fantastic, but
So it ended well then.
it ended well. But
Good.
like, I think it was about 4 years at Pineapple, and from the day I started to the day I finished there, I was verbally abused. I actually left. I walked out. My mum was so devastated that I'd left a job. I'd walked out of a job.
I bet you didn't really know why though, did you?
Well, she knew a little bit. She knew I was being bullied, but it's just not something you did. You didn't walk out of a job.
No.
It didn't matter. Like if they were throwing knives at me, I was still expected to go in and do the job. And but it was such a horrible experience. And like, I know her full name. I know whereabouts in the world she's used to live, and she tried to contact me once on Facebook, and like was all like smarmy and nice, and like I just
blocked her.
I just don't understand. I don't understand how.
No, I don't understand that.
But the same with my bullies at school. When I went to my school reunion, my bullies were like nice to my face, and like I was very wary of them, and like they were saying things like, "Well, why are you so cagey?" and that sort of thing, and like you clearly don't remember the same thing.
Your bullies don't see it the same way that you see it.
And they were some of them were absolutely gobsmacked that I saw it as they'd treated me really badly. So
Well, they don't like that though. They don't see themselves as doing anything wrong. And when as they get older, they're just like, oh yeah, we're just kids, and
that's quite a difficult thing. The pineapple thing. So if Kirsty's ever listening, Kirsty, I just want you to know that you were directly responsible for my downward decline, and my mental health went rock bottom, and
look at you now.
I'm surprised I'm still here, because there were a few things that I did that were very escapist.
That's not good.
So anyway, let's end that there, because like we're into an hour and 15 minutes now.
Ooh,
so
okay.
And anyway, I don't like to.
Mine was jollier.
I don't like to bring up my past that's like so negative, because everybody else has had such a great life, and I just feel like I'm just like a bit of a failure.
It's not that everybody's had a great life.
I feel like I'm a bit of a failure for not having a good life.
You're not. You're having a good life though.
I am now.
Yeah, then. But that's the important bit.
But I am always, so I'm always very gullible. I will always trust people until they. But then I can't hate them.
But how much better is your life now, and how different are things?
Yeah, I know, but I just don't.
And how fabulous!
I don't want it to be a sad thing. I don't want the podcast to be.
No, but that's what I mean. Like
misery and sadness.
So it took you longer to come out of your shell than it took me to come out of my shell. But look how fabulous everything is now.
Yeah.
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 You have your channel. You have your adoring public. Yeah. You have Vic. You have me. Mm-hmm. That's maybe not a good thing.
No, it is. I love you. I love
what I mean?
Vic.
It's like,
I love.
So it took you a little bit longer. That's all.
I love you. I love Vic. I love Sophie, and I love Marcus. If you guys weren't here, I wouldn't be here. And actually, if you guys listening or that watch my YouTube channel weren't here, I probably wouldn't be here, because I need an outlet. I need to feel connected to society in some way. So, and I try to be happy.
Look how amazing
I try
work
to be constantly happy, but it is difficult. And at the moment, I have tears in my eyes, but I'm smiling through it, because you can get through anything with a smile. So, and on that note,
life is good.
Yes, we will pick up further questions if you've got any more questions that have come up as a result of this. If you want to discuss anything that we've said, like either put it in the comments or drop me an email, and we will catch you again at the next one.
Yeah.
So I'd like to say thank you very much for listening. My name is Dave, as in Dash of Dave.
Mr.
And
Dash.
I will say goodbye. Say goodbye, Brian.
Goodbye, Brian.
It's the running
As
joke.
always, it's the running joke. As always, lovely to talk to you all.
Yes. So we will see you again soon, for another CBC. Craft, banter and chat. We need a jingle.
Get on it.
Take care, folks.
We need a logo and a jingle and
take care,
T-shirt.
folks. We love you. We love you all, and we'll see you soon.
We will see you soon. Bye bye.
We're waving, but you can't see it.
And I have an answer to a question. The Queens are coming soon. They'll be here in the next week.
All right. There you go. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Take care, folks. See you soon. Bye.
Bye.